This is Fantasy Avenue, hosted by Mikey Andersen, your road to fantasy football victory. Hello, and welcome back to Week 1 review, Fantasy Avenue. Mikey Andersen, let's go, I'm hyped. What a week. Filming this episode on a Saturday, looking at the next Sunday's game, so, call me a procrastinator, but I'm just using my resources right now. I can talk about Week 2 Thursday night as well. And so that's really why I do it how I do it, okay? We're going to hop right in. It's homecoming week. I'm actually filming this at 3:22 p.m. on homecoming night. I have to be at a house for photos by 5:30, so I have 2 hours. I got my priorities straight, baby. Let's go. Homecoming week. Good Raptor dub last night, 35-0. It's a good time to be alive. Busy time, but it's a good time. And we're going to hop in. First, a couple things to touch on trade-wise. Then we're going to look at the top kind of performers and disappointing guys and who you should pick up with. Going to be a fairly short episode, probably week 1. There's not a lot to go off of, right? You don't really want to drastically change your team week 1. You just want to make some little changes. So we're going to get into that and kind of see how that's looking. Number 1, the Dolphins. My God. Now, week 1, I had a big win this week. Last week, I guess. I have Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. I'm blanking on the names. How can you blank on Tyreek's name? Anyway, the whole police thing, right, where then Tyreek scores and he puts on a pair of handcuffs. That was awesome. Anyway, I have those dudes. They both went off, both Dolphins receivers. Not necessarily normal to draft 2 guys from the same team, but it worked week 1, baby. And now we get to week 2 Thursday night, and they're all playing, and every single one of those 3 dudes I named did not play very well. In part on the Dolphins receiver side because of concussion to the Tua Tagovailoa fan base. Hard out to that fan base and to that man, Tua. I hope he doesn't retire. He's a good player. It would suck. Maybe retiring is the safe choice, but he's really good, and I don't want to see him retire, so that'd be sad. Anyway, it hurts as a Jalen Waddle manager, and I'm going to tell you right now, tip number 1, coming off a rough week, especially with this Tyreek situation, I don't see Jalen Waddle producing at the level that you most likely drafted him for. So if you can grab a guy that's a little lower down the list, but that has some upside, a Terry McLaurin type dude. Now, I know he had a bad week 1 also, but he's just the first example that pops into my mind. Grab a guy with some upside who's going to get some targets because I'm scared of the Dolphins' quarterback situation now. I feel like the targets are going to be minimal chances to score, and when there are chances to score, it's going to go to Tyreek. So I'm pretty down on Waddle. And then part 2, I'm going with Xavier Worthy. Now, trade away, right? Kind of risky. A little scary in Dynasty Leagues, specifically Dynasty Leagues. The only reason is because I think his hype is so much right now that you can, in Dynasty Leagues, right, look at older receivers. I saw a trade, A.J. Brown for Xavier Worthy. Like, that's how much hype there is, right? Because of age seems to matter so much. If you have a legit Dynasty team, which my team... Joe Livers, it's my team's not doing amazing in our league. I don't know why. I just lack points. Every week I just lack points. It's super annoying. And I have a deep bench that also just lacks points. It's very frustrating. But anyway, if you have a team that's actually a bit of a competitor, trading for an older, bigger receiver, because I say this, now Xavier Worthy could have an amazing career, right? He could have a Tyreek Hill 2.0 in that offense. But just how they used him, only had a couple of targets. The end around is a little scary to me. I think he's either going to have a Tyreek Hill situation, or he's going to have a situation where he's a situational player, gets the ball a couple times on design plays, but really struggles to consistently score points. Like, I think he's either going to be scoring 30-yard touchdowns or have 2 catches for 11 yards and 1 rush for 2 yards, and that's his whole stat line. It's weird. I'm only doing it the hype. Don't trade him based on your value, right? Based on what you think you're getting, based on what the other guy thinks he's getting. You know what I'm kind of saying, right? Don't base it on how you drafted him and like a guy who's even with him on your draft board. I wouldn't even trade him for a dude like a better rookie receiver like a Duze or one of them yet. Like, keep your dude. You drafted him, keep him, okay? Just if you get an opportunity to get a top 10 receiver, take it. Because people are doing that. Just take it. All right? That's all I got to say. We're going to go over the top scorers real quick from week 1 and just kind of see like what people were looking at, right? And who was kind of surprising, okay? Now I'm going to look at the top quarterbacks, the top running backs, top receivers, and we're just going to kind of see how it went. Really no surprise in the quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson, but no surprise at the top spot of Josh Allen. I have him. It was a weird week for quarterbacks. I mean, the number 7 receiver was C.J. Stroud under 20 points. So, Patrick Mahomes at 15. Weird week for quarterbacks. I'm super high on Baker Mayfield, and I have been this whole year. If he's somehow not on a roster, or if you can have a trade for him for a low-level bench player, this is a dude that is a rotational starter on your team. And unless you have a top 5 quarterback, a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, he could be a dude that legit gets starting minutes. If you have a guy, even like C.J. Stroud, I think if you had C.J. Stroud and Baker Mayfield, you would alternate starters. You wouldn't just start C.J. Stroud. Because Baker Mayfield is a legit fantasy point scorer. He's like in that like 2017-18 Kirk Cousins era, where you like grabbed Kirk Cousins in the last round after you already had a kicker and somehow ended up starting him more weeks than you didn't. That's kind of what I'm feeling with Baker Mayfield right now, and that makes me pretty excited. As for quarterbacks who choked, Bo Nix. Throw a little Bronco fan salt on the fire. Bo Nix didn't look too good, buddy. You did not look like preseason. Now, I know preseason is not necessarily like the same, but brother, you didn't do very well. Aaron Rodgers. That Jets hype train freaking went off the rails week 1. Joe Burrow put 10 points up against what I thought was one of the worst defenses in the NFL. It's hard to talk about quarterbacks, because week to week, starting with week 1, you just never know how it's going to work. By the time we get to week 5, that's when I can really start talking about quarterbacks, because they all have the same amount of opportunities. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you have the same opportunity as every other starting quarterback. It's just how you use it. Where it really comes into big fantasy thing is, a running back who's getting 20 carries and only ended up with 7 points. That's a dude that you might look at and go, not excited about the points, but he's getting opportunities. That's where you want to look, right? It's all an opportunity-based league. Quarterbacks are the only position that's kind of outside of that, right? So it's a little hard to look at week 1. But no surprise, Josh Allen's at the top. Running backs, top 5. You've got Saquon, Joe Mixon, A-Chain, J.K. Dobbins, and Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason, 100%. I guarantee by the time the Saturday episode's coming out, he's already picked up in your league. I hope you picked him up. It does not take a fantasy podcast to tell you to pick this dude up. Christian McCaffrey is now an injured reserve, missing at least 4 games. And Jordan Mason scored 22 points in the first game he's ever started or something. He's a dog. J.K. Dobbins, I really like how many carries. He only had the weird part about J.K. Dobbins is he was only on the field for 58% of the snaps, so that's a little scary. But he's a dude that I would love to pick up. Other guys that are kind of in the top that I'm not really very surprised, or that I am a little bit surprised about. Brian Robinson, only on the field for 56% of snaps, but dominated the point share in Washington over Austin Eckler based on his touchdown. Had 40 rushing, 49 receiving. That's the type of stat line that you hear and you go, that dude could be on the field all the time because he's getting pass and run work. And so maybe as the season goes on, who knows? He might be getting more of a share of carries. That'd be very exciting. Any other? I'm looking at guys who should you pick up? It's really Jordan Mason is the dude this week. Guys that are kind of disappointed. We're looking towards the bottom. Zamir White. I was on that hype train. I'm not gonna lie. I ended up not drafting him in any of the leagues. But classic Raider. Come on, Raider. Do something. Do something. He sucked. Javonte Williams, Bronco. Yeah, I was telling you guys all season, don't pick this kid up. He's just not an explosive guy anymore, and I don't know why. And I hope and prayed to God I've fallen asleep holding a Broncos pillow, crying about why can't Javonte Williams get back to his prime, and I don't know why. But it's just an unfortunate thing that we're gonna have to deal with. I'm way more high on the other Broncos running back, Jaleel McLaughlin. Holy crap. Scored more points and he was on the field for less than half of Javonte. I want to say by the end of the season, don't even pick up Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm just going to pronounce his last name because that's a white name, McLaughlin. I can pronounce that one. McLaughlin. I think by the end of the season he's going to be getting on the field a lot more than he was and thus be scoring more points. I don't know. There's the Broncos backfield's 3 little cabooses. Or it's those little it's the train things that have a lever that goes like, and then it's got two people on each side, like it's kind of like a seesaw, and you push down. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's that. There's no train. There's not even a caboose. It's like a train track seesaw, and hand powered. Not exciting. But that's kind of the take on running backs. That's Jordan Mason's the dude this week. J.K. Dobbins, a little, I would say a more realistic pickup. Someone to keep your eye on. Receivers. Number one, dude, this is nuts. I'm reading this league, right? So I'm in a league with a lot of my friends who are some dudes. I don't even know who listens that's in this league. Maybe none of them. They all play video games too much. But I'm looking at the league, right? And I just go to week 1 stats, leaders, and push on receiver, and it tells me what team they're on, and it gives me a little symbol. Top 4 receivers. You want to guess who had them? It went Jalen Reed, Cooper Kupp, Allen Lazard, Tyreek Hill. I have Jalen Reed. I have Allen Lazard. I have Tyreek Hill. That's what you call domination, boys. You better be scared of me. Now, hopefully Tyreek and Josh Allen score a little bit more points in the upcoming weeks, because I don't even know if I'm going to win this week with that terrible Thursday night performance by my players. But you want to talk about receiver dominance? I know my receivers, all right? Jaden Reed, I knew he was going to be the number 1 Packer coming in, and I said it. If you have the opportunity to trade for this dude, do it now. Actually, scratch that. Do not do it now. Keep your eye on this guy. Maybe use the favorite feature, and when he has a couple off weeks, then pick him up, because this guy's the number 1 receiver. You want number 1 receivers on your team, Guys like Courtland Sutton, number 1 receiver, has off weeks. Jaden Reed is going to have a big price tag on his head week 1, but I want you to keep an eye on when he has maybe 1 or 2 iffy games in a row. He scores 6 points. Don't be scared. Then you swoop in, all right? Allen Lazard, he is my receiver pickup of the week. Big pickup. I got him. Donnie, stay mad, dude. That was a great pickup by me. I'm not going to cap. He texted me about it. He's like, I can't believe you picked him up. I was like, well, I do have a podcast. I know my stuff. He balled, and then that's my pickup of the week as a receiver. And then a little other note, Cooper Kupp. I mean, damn, Cooper Kupp, where did that come from? With Puka out, Cooper Kupp is, I believe, I'm going to make this bold prediction. We'll come back to it in a couple weeks. Over the first 5 weeks of the season, I believe Cooper Kupp will be a number 3 receiver in fantasy. Right now, he's number 2 behind Jaden Reed. I believe he will be a number 3, so I believe he will stay exactly where he is, no fall off. Some guys are going to move. He might not have a 32-game week every week, but by week 5, he's going to be in the top 3, and I'm going to tell you that right now. I think it's going to be CD, Tyreek, and him, which no one was drafting like that. But after that first game, and with Puka out, it's game time, baby. I'm excited for that. Let's move on. Let's look at a couple receivers who kind of disappointed. We're looking basically under 10 points. Who scored less than 10 points? They should be scoring way more. Tank Dell, a little disappointing. Courtland Sutton, very disappointing. Keenan Allen, I expected a lot more than that. He's only on the field for 68%. I was pretty high on him. Keep an eye. First week, you just keep an eye. I'm not saying drop. By the time we're getting to week 10, if dudes are having these weeks consistently, I'm going to say drop this kid. Brandon Ayuk, he's warming up to the offense. Amon-Ra, 4.3 points. This is what I was saying about Amon-Ra before the season. I'm really high on him, but he is one of the only, bona fide, there's a big word for you, bona fide top 5 receivers that isn't consistent. And so weeks like that suck. I mean, they were in a barn burner of a game, Shout out Coach Chandler for that barn burner word. I've never heard that until he said it. Now I'm saying it all the time. And Amon-Ra should have been involved, and he wasn't, and that's kind of what sucks. Scary, but don't fall away from him yet. Tight ends, here we go. What a weird week for tight ends. I only have one thing to say about tight ends. 2 things. First of all, the top guys like Travis Kelce, not locked in at all. Okay, don't be scared. I want to say to everyone, start the tight end you started last week. Okay, unless you picked up Isaiah Likely, which is the pickup of the week. All right. There's really 3 pickups. Jordan Mason, Allen Lazard, Isaiah Likely. Unless you picked one of those 3 guys up, for tight end specifically, unless you picked up Isaiah Likely up, start the tight end you originally started. The tight ends who scored over 10 points were Foster Monroe and Jawan Johnson, so 2 guys on the same team, Saints, Brock Bowers, Kyle Pitts, and Isaiah Likely. No tight end really did good. Everyone did bad, so I just want to say stay with the tight end you picked, unless you got Likely, and then go ahead and ride the hype train. 9 catches. He was for 12 targets. I mean, he had a freaking say. He ran the show. Unless you had one of those guys, I would say stick. All right. So there you go. Kickers, what a week for freaking kickers. Represent. We had 5 kickers over 6 kickers over 15 points. 3 kickers over 20 points. 4 kickers over 20 points. Oh my God. Chris Boswell, Jake Moody, Blake Group, Brandon Aubrey. I want to say right now, go pick up Blake Group. This is a name that I guarantee in 99% of leagues he's not going to be picked up. Let's look. Holy crap. On Sleeper, he's 5% rostered. Why? Because he's a rookie. He's 5'7". Holy crap, he's tiny. Dude, that's like Reese Dahlke size. Holy cow. Anyway, this kid, no one's going to know his name. If you need a kicker, pick him, right? I picked up Chris Boswell this week because he's available. But I'm saying I guarantee that Blake Group, I don't even know how to say his name. I guarantee he's available. So he's the dude that you kind of want to pick up. All right? That's it. That's kickers. Defenses, I mean, Chicago Bears, holy crap, they carried. I saw so many memes about, like, Caleb Williams and, like, defense carried you, and I couldn't really enjoy it because my rookie quarterback sucked last week. So I couldn't really enjoy the rookie quarterback slander. But the defenses are just, I mean, you just got to look. We knew that the Titans were going to have a rough offense. We knew the Giants were going to have a rough offense. We knew Carolina was going to have a rough offense. I mean, those are the top teams, right? Atlanta, like, look at teams who are playing against the Broncos, against the Falcons, against the Panthers, the Titans, the Giants. Look at those defenses, and that's who you're going to go with, all right? That's it, man. I mean, it's a quick episode. Usually my episodes take 10 more minutes, but I got to get dressed. I got to put on some spiffy shoes and go dance the night away. So I love that you're here with me. I love you were here. I love that I'm signing off, and I'm going to go have fun. And I love that you'll see me next week. Fantasy Avenue, Mikey Andersen. Peace out.